Welcome to Cooking for Real, where it's Friday, and in a lot of houses, that means it's pizza night. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, it's not really wise to go out to eat. So I'm going to work with the ingredients I have at home, and right from scratch, right down to making the pizza dough myself, I'm going to have a nice pizza night right here at home. Now before we get started, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. So I'm just going to make a quick dough that actually came in the instructions for my food processor. In the bowl right now I have 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I saved you the trouble of watching me bloom the yeast, but it is 1 package of active dry yeast and a teaspoon of sugar to 2/3 of a cup of warm water. Now remember, warm water should be above 95 degrees and under 110. So with that lid on, we're going to pulse this. And then I'm going to drizzle a little bit of this in there before we get it started, just so. And now let's add in that yeast. Of olive oil here, which I'm going to use the drizzle top, and let that go in nice and slow. And that is 1 done pizza dough. It took seconds, and all we're going to do now is take it out, form it into a quick ball, and let it rest. Welcome back. I have let my dough rest and rise, and it's probably more than doubled in size. And let's just unmask this baby. You can see it's a little sticky. That's on me because I didn't, spray it with Pam or anything. I don't own a pizza pan or a peel or anything like that. But pizza goes in the oven at about 475 degrees. So if you're going to do this without the proper pans, then you should pick Pyrex or very thick bottomed steel pan to withstand the heat. A general cookie sheet is actually going to warp. Now I'm going to give this a spray. I'm also going to dust this with some cornmeal. Now the reason I'm doing both is because I've had failures with cornmeal where the food actually ended up sticking terribly to the pan. So I'm going to use both treatments. Now with clean hands, I am going to take this pizza crust, throw down a quick dusting of flour, put this sucker out, and now I'm using a rectangular pan, so what I'm going to do here is get a rough rectangular shape. Take out my rolling pin and get it going. Now this is kind of a cheater pizza, so what we're going to do is place it right into that pan. And I want you to just stretch it. Just stretch it into place, pulling from the middle and pushing out to the sides. And we'll probably do this more than once because this is going to spring back on us, as you can see how it springs right back. Now while that rests, because we will have to let it rest, let me show you what I've pulled together for toppings. I have a pound of hamburger here. Well, it's actually about 1.25 pounds. And I've got several cheeses that I'm just going to leave in the fridge for now. A jar of Happy Belly tomato sauce that will serve as my pizza sauce. Canned mushrooms that I will drain the liquid off of. I have some sliced bell peppers. An onion, which I will also slice. Bacon bits. The first thing we're going to do is prepare this meat. Now you may have noticed I have it in a Ziploc bag. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour seasoning right into this bag. Here I have some Worcestershire sauce. Shake a few healthy drops into the bag. I have garlic powder, granulated onion, kosher salt, fresh ground pepper. Now this is a little trick I taught myself. I bet other people know how to do this. I'm sure I'm not the creator of this trick, but I have it all in that Ziploc bag, and in order to mix it all in, I'm just going to mash it around in here. I pretty much have this dough where I want it. I don't mind that it's not exactly in the corners, but I don't want it to dry out while I'm doing other things, so I'm going to give it a quick brush of olive oil. And this will actually help the edges get nice and brown while we're cooking our pizza in the oven. One of the only things, actually the only thing you're going to have to cook ahead of time is the hamburger. I have it all mushed in. Everything's mixed in nicely. And I'm going to brown this hamburger. What I would recommend is not to brown it all the way, because again, it is going into the oven at 475 degrees for as long as it takes the cheese to melt and everything to come together. So you don't want this overcooked. You don't want it cooked all the way right now, because then you're going to end up with tough, chewy, overcooked hamburger in your pizza. While the hamburger browns, let's take that nice tomato sauce and spread it out. While that hamburger is over there still browning, we're going to add some of these toppings. What I have here, and remember I said this was stuff just in the fridge, I have some Velveeta that was left over from making macaroni and cheese. I cubed it up. Why not? A little something extra. That onion. Personally, I don't like bell peppers, but my partner in life here loves them, and he will be thrilled to find them on this pizza. Now that jar of mushrooms, which we all love mushrooms here, so we can go pretty heavy on these. Okay, the meat is where I would like it to be. So what I'm actually going to do is I want to pop it on some paper towels and drain the fat out of it. If it looks like we fast forwarded a bit here, we kind of did. While that meat cooled, what I did was I prepared some freshly chopped parsley. And then I have some seasoning here, which is about a tablespoon of dried oregano, some red pepper flakes, and dried garlic. Now, if my youngest son is watching, do not worry, son. I did not forget the bacon. This is Epic brand uncured bacon bits. If they would like to sponsor me, I would be ever so thrilled. And now that drained hamburger, which you can see how wet this is, it is well worth it to drain the hamburger. And you can tell by the way I'm touching it that it is cooled pretty much all the way. There's little hot spots. Now this is quite the pizza, but what this pizza is actually lacking is cheese. Normally, I'm a huge advocate for freshly grated Parmesan cheese. It's not that kind of meal. So let's get this shaker cheese on here. Just dust it enough that you can tell that it's there. And then whatever the boy has left me for this cheese. which is not a lot. It's not a lot. Honestly, though, I think we're going to do just fine. So the next thing that you need to do is to preheat your oven to 425 degrees. If you had a pizza stone at this point, you would actually put that pizza stone in the oven, but I do not. So just 475 degrees, make sure it's good and heated up. Now that the oven is preheated, we're going to pop this in there for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the cheese is melted and I see some nice browning and crusting. Thank you for joining me on Cooking for Real today, where I made a great pizza out of things I just had around the house. Didn't even have to go and buy a pizza dough. How quick and easy was that? If you have things you like to do with leftovers or just the scraps from your fridge, send me a line, drop me a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.